Most people don't walk away because they stopped loving. They walk away because loving feels unsafe. There's a strange silence that happens right before someone pulls away. Not an argument, not a dramatic ending, just a subtle shift. Texts take longer. Eye contact feels heavier. Touch feels awkward. And if you've ever been on either side of that moment, you know how confusing it is. You're right there with someone, but somehow you're already leaving. From the outside, it looks like indifference. From the inside, it feels like panic. People don't push away love because they don't want it. They push it away because closeness activates their deepest fears. To understand why, you have to understand how the brain learns love. When you were a child, your brain was constantly asking one question: is it safe to be close to someone? If your caregivers were warm, consistent, and emotionally available, your nervous system learned that connection equals safety. But if love was unpredictable, if affection came and went, if you were criticized, ignored, or had to earn attention, your body learned something very different. Closeness is dangerous. That lesson doesn't disappear when you grow up. It becomes your attachment style. Some people grow up learning that relying on others leads to disappointment. So they learn to rely only on themselves. They become independent, strong, emotionally guarded. They don't feel broken. They feel trapped when someone gets too close. To an avoidant nervous system, love doesn't feel warm. It feels like losing control. So when a relationship deepens, their body starts to feel anxious. Not because their partner is wrong, but because intimacy feels like danger. So they pull away. Others grow up learning that love can disappear at any moment. So they become hyper-aware of emotional distance. They overthink. They seek reassurance. They cling. They don't feel controlling. They feel abandoned. When their partner pulls back, their nervous system goes into alarm, and that alarm often pushes the other person further away. This creates the most painful pattern of all. One person chasing, the other running. But attachment alone isn't the full story. Trauma happens when you're hurt, and no one helps you through it. Your body learns that vulnerability equals danger. So when someone gets emotionally close to you as an adult, your nervous system doesn't feel comfort. It feels exposure. Being seen feels risky. Being loved feels like something you could lose. So your body prepares for impact. This is why people sabotage healthy relationships. When love feels real, the brain looks for danger. And if it can't find any, it creates some. Suddenly you feel bored, irritated, numb, critical. Not because the relationship is wrong, but because your nervous system is trying to protect you. It's saying, better to leave now than be hurt later. The part of you that pushes people away isn't broken. It learned how to survive. But survival isn't the same as connection. Your nervous system doesn't care if you're happy. It cares if you're safe. And for many people, love has been linked with loss, rejection, or chaos. So when real intimacy appears, your body reacts like something bad is coming. That's why people say, I don't know why I'm doing this. I just need space. They're not avoiding love. They're avoiding the fear that comes with it. Healing starts when you realize that discomfort is not danger. The urge to pull away is just a signal from an old wound. When you feel it, pause. Ask yourself if you are unsafe or just afraid of being close. Those two feelings feel identical to a traumatized nervous system, but they are not the same. You didn't push people away because you were cold. You did it because once it kept you safe. But you don't have to live in survival mode forever. When you understand this, you stop hating yourself for pulling away. and you start learning how to stay. And that is where real connection finally begins. And staying is not something you do with willpower. It is something your nervous system has to learn, because attachment is not a belief. It is a reflex. Your body decides whether someone feels safe, long before your mind has a chance to speak. That's why you can meet someone who is kind, consistent, emotionally available, and still feel the urge to pull away. Your nervous system isn't responding to who they are. It's responding to what love used to mean. For avoidant attachment, intimacy feels like a slow loss of autonomy. As closeness grows, the body starts to feel crowded. Breathing feels tighter. Small things feel overwhelming. Even affection can feel intrusive. So distance becomes relief, not because you don't care, but because space makes you feel safe again. That's why avoidant people often feel most attracted to someone right after they leave. The threat is gone. The nervous system relaxes. Love feels safe again. From a distance, anxious attachment works the opposite way. Closeness feels calming. Silence feels terrifying. When communication drops, the body goes into alarm. The mind starts searching for reasons. What did I do? Are they losing interest? Is this about me? So the anxious partner reaches out, texts more, explains more, asks for reassurance. Not to control, but to survive the feeling of being left. And this is how two people can love each other deeply and still feel like enemies. One needs space to feel safe. The other needs closeness to feel safe. And neither is wrong. But without awareness, both end up hurting the very thing they want to protect. Trauma adds another layer. Trauma doesn't just live in memory. It lives in the body. It shows up when you flinch when someone raises their voice. You shut down when someone asks how you feel. You feel numb during intimacy. You suddenly feel distant. After a deep emotional moment, these reactions aren't personality flaws. They are survival responses. Your body learned that certain moments were dangerous, so now it reacts before you can think. That's why people sabotage intimacy in ways that don't make sense. They pick fights over small things. They emotionally withdraw when things get good. They lose attraction. When a partner becomes more loving, they fantasize about leaving, even when nothing is wrong, because peace feels unfamiliar. And the nervous system always prefers the familiar over the healthy. Some people were raised in chaos, so calm feels empty. Predictability feels boring. Stability feels suspicious. Their nervous system learned how to survive instability, so it doesn't know what to do with safety. That's why some people feel most alive in relationships that hurt them, because pain feels like home, and love that doesn't hurt feels fake. This is not because they are broken, it's because their body is still living in the past. Real healing begins when you stop judging these reactions and start listening to them. When you notice the urge to pull away instead of acting on it, you pause, you ask, what am I protecting myself from right now? When you feel the urge to chase, you pause. You ask, what am I afraid of losing? These moments are not failures. They are invitations. Invitations to teach your nervous system something new. That closeness does not always lead to pain. That space does not always mean abandonment. That love does not have to be earned through suffering. And the more you practice staying present through that discomfort, the more your body learns a different story. A story where connection is not a threat. A story where you no longer have to run from the very thing you want. And slowly, the urge to sabotage begins to fade. Not because you forced it away, but because you no longer need it to feel safe.